how many times have the Tories been taken to court? It appears whatever policy they want to bring in, somehow it crosses the line. Or does it? Do the Conservative Party actually go so close to the line without going over it? They have become a dab hand in trying to keep below the radar. Back in June of this year, the Conservatives were taken to court over the benefits cap. Tory MPs had attempted to have the case thrown out, but were rejected by the court, which ruled earlier this year that the case must be heard as a matter of urgency. The government said at the time it was disappointed with the latest ruling and will appeal against the decision. Of course it did. Remember, they wanted to reduce the amount of benefits to £23,000 per household, but the Conservatives would be forced to change or scrap one of their welfare policies. But lo and behold, the parents that originally took the Tories to court won the case. Even the High Court judge at the time said the cap was not intended to cover such households, had no good purpose, and the failure to exempt them was discriminatory. This particular ruling was made in response to a judicial review brought by the 4 lone parent families, including 2 who had been made homeless owing to domestic violence. Their solicitor said their benefits were expected to be cut as they were unable to work the 16 hours. Mr. Justin Collins said, "Whether or not the defendant accepts my judgment, the evidence shows that the cap is capable of real damage to individuals such as the claimants. They are not work shy but find it, because of the case difficulties, impossible to comply with the work requirements." But remember, the Tories were also taken to court over election spending, but now they are being taken to court yet again. The DUP deal has once again left a bad taste in another person's mouth. Kieran McLean, the son of one of the founders of Northern Ireland's civil rights movement, Paddy Joe McLean, is leading the challenge, claiming that the deal breaches the impartiality obligation in 1998 Good Friday Agreement as well as the Bribery Act. The initial aim set by Mr McLean is to raise £20,000 for legal fees, but no doubt more will be needed if the case progresses to a full hearing in the High Court. The first court hearing is tomorrow, or if you're watching this video a few days after that it was published, Thursday the 26th of October. The hearing will take place at the Divisional Court at the Royal Courts of Justice. Mr McLean also says on his crowdfunding page it is public, so any support is welcome. Edwin Coe, a commercial law firm in London, Edwin issued an application for judicial review acting on behalf of Kieran McLean, a resident of Northern Ireland, a politician in the Green Party and also a campaigner for the Good Friday Agreement, in relation to the decision by the Prime Minister to obtain and to enter into an agreement with the Democratic Unionist Party so that the DUP would support the government in votes of confidence and on supply votes. David Green, a senior partner at Edwin Coe, said this case is of huge public importance and demonstrates that individuals can in fact call governments to account and the importance of that capability in a democracy. And I happen to think he's right. We the people run this country, and if you think we don't, if every man and woman refused to work tomorrow unless things changed for the better, what do you think would happen? At the moment, Mr McLean has raised just over £91,000, so there is still some way to go if this does escalate further. So the Tories are being made accountable for their actions yet again, and quite rightly so. But where else have the Tories crossed the line? Well, in phone calls to voters. In the run-up to the last election, they had call centres in Wales. The Information Commissioner's Office, or ICO, found 2 small sections of the scripts supplied by the party crossed the line from legitimate market research into unlawful direct marketing. An undercover investigation by Channel 4 News, which claimed workers at Blue Telecoms in Neath, South Wales, may have been carrying out paid canvassing, which is banned under electoral law. The ICO's head of enforcement, Steve Eckersley, said, "We've found that 2 small sections of the written scripts used by those making the calls crossed the line from legitimate market research to unlawful direct marketing." He also said, "We've stopped short of formal regulatory action because the overall campaign was genuine market research." And he went on, "The 2 sections we had concerns about were not enough to trigger formal enforcement action when considered along with the campaign as a whole." Steve Eckersley also said, "But we have been clear about what we expect in the future. We've warned the party that its campaigns must be rigorously checked for questions that fall outside the bounds of market research." The Conservatives have always and will always deny breaking the law in relation to the call centres. They insisted the scripts it supplied were compliant with data protection and information legislation. So just how much more can the Tories, the Conservative Party, get away with? A £1 billion deal with the DUP, even though our NHS is still struggling. Cuts being made to frontline services, even though the taxpayer pays for a £3 million subsidy for Westminster lunches and dinners. And if they do lose the case against Mr McLean and the challenge on the DUP deal, who is paying the costs? Well, when you consider the Tories spent £105,000 in legal costs while fighting and losing a court challenge over illegal levels of air pollution, and if you also consider court cases relating to Brexit, including the invocation of Article 50, have cost taxpayers £1.2 million in legal fees, the Department for Exiting the European Union has revealed. Now, in documents published earlier this year, the penultimate day of Parliament before the summer recess, officials said that other staff costs, the most significant area of spend in Brexit Secretary David Davis' department, was on legal fees, totalling £3.7 million. Of this, £0.7 million was spent on Article 50 and Article 127 cases, while £500,000 was spent on legal fees for the winners of the case, including the claimant Gina Miller. Is this really the government we want, that you want? Aren't they fast becoming a law unto themselves? It will carry on until we make our voices heard. Thanks for watching this video. Click on that video over there at the top for the previous video, and why not click on the one of the many playlists on this channel, and don't forget to click the subscribe button. What have you got to lose? You want to make a change, don't you? See you next time.